have any questions pertaining to class or classroom methodology or homework or test or, okay, let me go ahead and tell y'all right now. Did I give y'all a test to do, or did I show y'all a test the other day? Somebody answer that question.
You showed us a test.
You showed us a test.
I showed you the test. Does that mean you got to turn it in?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Okay. I've already had 3 or 4 people just going bonkers. I had one student email me 5 times. 5.
Oh my God.
Not 1, 5.
What'd you say?
People, if I tell you in a classroom that I'm showing you a test and I haven't gone over the first math problem yet, you are not responsible for that test. Okay? So please don't send me 5 emails. Please. All right. I need y'all to do me a favor. I'm going to mute everyone because I'm getting a lot of back noise. So I'm going to mute everyone. And if you need to ask me a question, just unmute it or type it in the chat. And hold on a minute. I want to make sure I've got, yeah, I'm making sure that I've got everything turned on. Okay, so today we're actually going to start math. Believe it or not, we're going to start because nobody's got any questions and I should be able to hear me okay. And I'm going to present screen now and we're going to start with math. So I'm going to go to math 155 and I'm going to check first before we start. I'm going to check to see how many people we got actually on MyLabs Plus, because some of y'all it takes a month or 2, but most of y'all it doesn't take but a half a minute. My student said this minute it took less than a minute to get on to MyLabs Plus. So let's see how many people out of, I think we said 13. We got 9. That's good. 9 people. That's good. That means that we got 9 people, and we only got 4 people that haven't got on yet. So make sure you get on as soon as you can. Let's look at the syllabus and let's pull down the most important page is this page. And we're going to start with 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.6, and 10.1. Now, I'm probably going to go over 5.1 first and then 5.3. Well, no, I'll go ahead and do 5.2. But whatever I cover today, you're responsible for the homework for the next class. So if I cover 5.1 today, and by the end of class, if I finish 5.1, then that means I'm expecting most of you to have 5.1 homework finished before Monday. Now that's excluding questions that you send to me through Ask My Instructor. So if I finish, which I probably will get close to finishing today, 5.1, that means that Monday you need to have most of 5.1 homework done except for the questions that you send me. Because chances are I'm not going to get through to 5.2. I might start it, but I'm not going to get through to it. Okay, with that being said, we're going to conquer 5.1 today. So I'm going to jump to my handy dandy e-text. And I don't do this all the time. We're just starting off and I'm just showing you how I'm using the different materials. And we're going to use the e-text. I thought I hit it. Did I not hit it? No, I didn't.
It's been making me open it in the new tab and then clicking e-text for some reason. I don't know why.
It's them damn Russians is what it is.
Yep.
When something don't go your way, you blame the Russians.
Blame the Russians.
That's it. All right, so we're waiting on the new tab to open up. And there's the new tab. I don't know. I've never seen it do that before. In my other classes, I haven't. So I don't know if that's something with this class or with this
Sometimes
course.
it
Or what.
also says that my that it's not like I haven't used, or it says something like you haven't paid for this, so you can't use it, and then I just like close out of come back, and then it lets me. I don't know why it
Okay,
does that.
so I will mark that up as a bug. There's
Yeah.
something wrong with it. Yeah, because all
Well,
of
it
you
says like you
paid
haven't
for it.
paid
Because
or you haven't signed in.
yeah,
I don't know.
first of all, if you hadn't paid, you wouldn't be in the class with me right now. All right, so 5, and there's 1 number theory. We're going to be talking about finding the least common multiple, greatest common factor, and factoring. That's what we're talking about. Now, I'm not gonna insult your intelligence, but we are going to talk about prime and composite numbers. So, with that being said, if I asked you what the difference between a prime number is and a composite number, some of you might not be able to tell me. Some of you might be able to tell me. I don't know. Hold on a second. There we go. All right. So here we go. And I got brand new. I went and I bought a whole ream of paper. I got a giant ream of paper. And I went and bought some new markers for y'all because y'all are special. So I went and bought some new markers. And we are going to talk about prime and composite numbers. Prime and composite. Now, I like to call the prime numbers the ugly numbers. Why do I call them the ugly numbers? Because nobody wants to have anything to do with them. Because they're only divisible by themselves in 1. Okay? They're only divisible by themselves in 1. So they're the numbers that aren't so pretty. So we'll go with 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, and so on. And then there's the composite numbers. Well, the composites are the not so ugly numbers. Okay? They're the numbers that are divisible by other numbers. So they are easier to work with. So they're the numbers that are not up here, up at the top. So let's go down the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and so on. All right, so first of all, in the first type question I would ask you on a test or a standardized test is what is the difference between a prime number and a composite number? And that's the difference. And I'm going to go ahead, so I'm going to take my handy dandy highlighter. So that means you need to take your handy dandy highlighter and you need to highlight what I'm fixing to highlight. Well, right now, Hubie can't find his highlighter. There it is. You know, you got to look. I got 3 jars over here, and they're just full of markers and highlighters. So I'm going to highlight this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. Those 6 numbers right there, we're going to use them later, okay? We're going to use them later because they're going to help us find the least common multiple and the greatest common factor. All right, so hopefully right now everybody's with me and everybody understands the difference between a prime number and a composite. Hopefully everybody knows that. And I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but everything that we learn in 5.1 and 5.3 is based on these guys right here. Okay? Everything we do in 5.1 and 5.3 is based on the prime numbers. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go to the next page. Now, the next word we're going to talk about is factoring. All right, I'm going to ask for somebody to give me a layman's what you think the word factor means. Let's just, somebody, Mr. Brickman, you don't mind interacting. The rest of y'all don't want to talk to me, but Mr. Brickman don't. Mr. Brickman, can you give me a layman's definition of factoring? What does it mean? Do you have any idea?
Sorry, hold on.
You don't have to. You just say you don't know if you don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay. All right. Who else? Anybody want to take a stab at it?
Numbers that multiply together.
Okay, good. That's good. A factor is and you can take the word factors and add an S to it, and that's your factors. That's the numbers that you multiply together. Now, when I say factor without an S, that means that I'm expanding. Okay? Without an S, it's expanding. With an S, it means the numbers that make up the number. Okay, let me give you an example. If I was to tell you to factor 54, most of you would break it up into its factors, as Ms. Hatton said, of 6 times what? 6 times 9. You have just factored 64. What did you do? You broke up or expanded 54 into what Ms. Hatton said, its factors. Now see, that's why the S, okay? Okay, the act of factoring is breaking something up or expanding it into its factors. All right, now that's very important, very basic, but it's very important because if you don't understand what the word factoring means, then you're not going to understand what we're doing in 5.1. Now there's 2 types of factoring. There's composite factoring, which everybody can do that. Somebody tell me why everybody can do composite factoring. Because of something you learned back in the, what, 3rd and 4th grade. What were they? Multiplication tables. So you can break 54 into 6 times 9. Or 9 times what? Or you might be the guy that sits in the corner and goes, well, actually 54 is 2 times 27. Or 27 times 2. Okay, y'all get what I'm saying? So that's called composite factoring. The opposite of composite factoring, anybody want to take a guess at it? Prime factoring. And that's what we're going to focus on. 5.3, we are focusing on prime factorization. Now, why do you have to worry about prime factorization? Because I'm going to write this in red. When I write something in red, that means you better write it in red or you better highlight it in pink. Okay? The reason we use prime factorization is it breaks things to lowest what? To lowest terms. That's why. Prime factorization breaks down numbers to its lowest terms. If you need to find out why a machine is not working, or let's take for instance, you hear something in your car's brakes that doesn't sound right. You find out which brake it is by listening to it. Then what do? What does the mechanic do when they find out where the sound is coming from? They find out, let's say they say it's coming from the passenger side front wheel. Okay, they know where it's coming from. What's the first thing they do? They take the wheel off. Then they what? They take the brakes apart, find out what's wrong. Okay? When you are using prime factorization, you are taking the brakes apart. Okay? You are undoing everything. Now that's important in 5.1 and 5.3. So we're going to focus on this. So when I say prime factorization, I don't want 6 times 9. I want 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. Because here are those 5 numbers again. The numbers that we're going to focus on: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13. 95% of the time, one of those numbers will work. So, and in this class, that's all you need to worry about. So whenever we do something with prime factorization, we're going to focus on these numbers. We're going to focus on those numbers. So let's take 54. And the directions will say, use prime factorization. Use prime factorization to factor the following. And dot, dot, dot. And then they'll have A, 54. Now, some of you have been taught how to do this by the tree. I don't do the tree. There's a reason I don't do the tree. Because the tree, you can't use all the way across the board. Okay, so for some of you that don't know what I'm talking about with the tree, you do 54, and then you draw these 2 arrows, 6 times 9, and then 2 times 3, and then 3 times 3. Okay, that's the tree. I don't do those. Okay, the reason I don't do them is because you can't use them with the second part of 5.1, and you can't use them with 5.3. So I don't use the tree. What do I use? I use the table. And I put 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and 13 right there. Now this is the first part of 5.1. The first part of 5.1 is prime factors. And you're talking probably about 2 or 3 problems on the test of prime factorization. The second part of 5.1 is lowest common multiple and greatest common factor. And there's another 2 or 3 questions on the test with 5.1. So you're talking about 6 questions, maybe off of 33 questions. So that's about 20 points. This represents about 20 points of your test. Okay, so with that being said, what number goes into 54? Now, there's several numbers that go into 54. 2 goes into 54. 3 goes into 54. 5 does not. Well, how do you know that, Hubert? Well, I'll show you. Show you a little trick I learned in the war. That's a joke. I was in a war, but I don't say that. I just say that. I used to have a friend. Every time he showed me something, he would say, "This is a trick I learned in the war." And he didn't even go to war. All right, so I'm going to go to my handy dandy Google page, and I'm going to pull up divisibility. Now, if somebody's got a book open in front of them, I want you to look in 5.1 and tell me what page this is on, okay? And I'm going to just pull one out of the blue images. Let's see what this one looks like. There we go. Look in 5.1. If somebody has a book, or if you're on the ebook, please pull up the page that has this on it and tell me what page it is. Please.
It's 206.
Thank you. So I'm going to pull this up right here, and I'm going to put it on 206 now. Text 206. I'm just showing you that you could have went, you can go to Google and print it out for the one person that's going to do it. Okay, and there it is. So I'm going to blow this up for you so you can either take a picture of it, or if you're watching the video, you can do a screenshot of it. Where is the, there it is. No, that's too big. I suck. There we go. All right, so that's how you can tell if something is divisible. Now, I want everybody to do this because I don't want you using your calculator. You don't need your calculator for this, all right? Now, if you choose to use your calculator, I have no way of policing that. But if you want to learn to the best of your ability, you will do what I tell you, okay? If you want to be one of those cashiers that work at a restaurant that can't spell mom backwards and it can't do correct change, then you use calculator more, okay? So with this being said, I'm trying to do 54. And 5 goes into numbers that end in what? 0 and 5. So I know that 5 won't work. 6 and 3 goes into numbers, when you add them up, they're divisible by 6 or 3. Okay? So I think, I'm sorry, not 6, 7. 7 will not go into 54. And 11 will not go into 54. Because the only thing 11 will go into is 44 and 55. So you know that don't work. And 13, I don't think 13 will work either. So with that being said, we should probably just quit the problem and say we can't do it. No, we go back to 2 and 3. Go back to 2 and 3. It doesn't matter which one you choose. And I'm going to divide, I'm going to use 2 because I always use 2. So I'm going to divide 2 into 7, that'd be 27 times. And then what will go into 27? 3. 3 times 9. And what will go into 9? 3 and 3. And you're done because you got a number 1 right there. And the prime factorization for 54 is 2 times 3 times 3 times 3, or 2 times 3 to the 3rd power. Now, let me go ahead and say this because I know there's somebody out there that's going, oh, God, I didn't do it that way. I do it easier way. I know, and you invented mathematics 2,000 years ago, okay? I'm not teaching to you. I'm teaching to the student that always sucked at this, okay? So how to do 54 is 2 times 3 to the 3rd power. I have just used prime factorization to get this down to its lowest factors. I don't care about 6 times 4 because that's not prime. Now, every question you get on the test will be like this. And you've got to get it down in terms of prime factors, which means 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13. Let's try nerding. And I will tell you this, there are some teachers, I've sat in a class to where some teachers will lobotomize their students just teaching something this simple. I'll tell you that right now. I've sat through one. All right, so let's do a nerd. I'm going to let y'all do this one. I want you to break down 144 into prime factorization. So you would go out here and put 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13, and draw a table and put 144 right here. Of course, I would divide by 2 first, but that's just me. All right, I'm gonna give y'all. I'm gonna get the stopwatch out. I figure the stopwatch can give you a little bit more anxiety, so I figure anything to discourage you. So here we go. Where's my clock? Give everybody 2 minutes. 2 minutes is way enough time to do this problem. So I'm gonna give y'all 2 minutes to work on that problem. And it's not difficult. Just use your 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and 13. And if you can't do it, just write it down as being a failure in life and being a loser and probably live in a cardboard box. Is that discouraging enough? Oh, I guarantee you there's somebody out there weaned on a pickle. Already mad at me. Miss Hatton, you wasn't weaned on a pickle, were you?
No, sir.
Good. You ever asked your husband if he was kin to Sam Hatton?
Oh, no, I ain't had a chance. We've been busy with basketball.
Oh, Lord. Whereabouts y'all live in Anderson?
We south of Broadway Lake.
Oh, okay. Sam Hatton not grew up because he probably did out here where I'm at, out West Anderson. Down Sugar Pines, down on Dobbins Bridge Road. His house was the corner house right there on Dobbins Bridge Road and Sugar Pines.
Okay, because my husband is from Iowa.
I bet you $1 he's kin to him.
He probably
he had like 15 kids.
Oh.
Yeah, he had a lot of kids. He's big old tall man. I remember him very, very vaguely because I was probably 3 or 4 years old when I first met him, and I remember him very vaguely. But my daddy thought the world of him.
Okay, I will ask him and then I'll shoot you.
All right. Okay. So stop. That's 2 minutes. So does everybody ready to quit school now? All right. Here we go. We're going to divide by 2. 2 will go into 14 7 times. 2 will go in there 72. Okay, I'm going to divide by 2 again because the rule states that if I'm dividing by 2, the last digit is even, so I can divide by 2 right here, see? Or you can go to the Pearson text. If the number is even, I can divide by 2. So I'm going to keep on dividing by 2 because a lot of us think divide by 2, you double it, you divide by 2. A lot of us think better dividing by 2 than dividing by 3. Unless you're like, one of those people that think in threes. And I don't think too many people do that. But I'm going to divide by 2 and I get 36. I'm going to divide by 2 and I get 18. I'm going to divide by 2 and I get 9. Uh-oh. Got to switch gears now because now we got a 9. So I'm going to divide by 3. And I'm going to divide by 3. And there's my magic 1 right there, which tells me I'm done. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 144 is equal 2 to the 4th power times 3 to the 2nd power. Now, at this point, I know I have somebody out there going, well, I got that answer. I didn't even have to do that chart. When we get to the second part of 5.1, you'll see why I'm doing this chart. I'm not doing this chart because of prime factorization. I'm doing this chart so you will be able to find the least common factor and the greatest common multiple, or whatever they're called. I get them mixed up all the time. Okay, that's why we're doing this. All right, so that's why I'm doing the chart. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and curb that I already know how to do this attitude, because you might not know as much as you think you know when we get to the least common multiple and the greatest common factor. Okay, so let's do a nerd. I'm going to go to the homework, and I'm going to pull up one from the homework just so y'all see how I do things. This is the way I do things. And let me find, there we go. Assignments. And 5.1. And let's see if I can find one like we're doing right now. Now, the book is not going to show you the table. They're going to do the tree. And I don't do the tree. So you're going to have to make adjustments. Come on, give me a number. Okay, we don't even use why is that even in there? Oh, I'll have to address that. These are all not the questions I'll ask. Give me a second to get there. That's the feasibility rules. Okay, there's one right there. This is a test question right here. All those other questions, they just lead up. So your first test question is number 37 in the homework. Or, yeah, number 37. Or number 11 out of 21. That's your first test question. So 3:15, give y'all 2 minutes, and let's see you do it. We reset the start, reset, start. And if you can't do it in 2 minutes, I'll go ahead and I need your name and, for drop slip. Miss Hubbard, I'm sorry, Mr. Hubbard, do you have a question?
Yeah, so like when we're doing the homework, like after class, like during the weekend and stuff, are we allowed to exit it as long as we hit that save button and all our
The homework, yes. The homework you can, yes.
Okay. I was just making sure as long as I hit that save button, I'd have all my stuff there when I came back.
I would always hit the save button because you need to get in the habit of hitting the save button even when you're writing a paper. I don't care what subject you in. If you're doing something on the computer, you hit that daggum save button, especially when you're writing a paper. Every 5 minutes, hit that save button. Okay. Okay, if you would mute your, thank you. And you can turn your hand off now. That way I'll know if somebody's asking a question. Just hit the hand again. There you go. All right, so we got a minute. Got another minute to go. And while you're doing that, I'm going to look through these questions because there's some questions in here that I just saw that I don't like. Because they're not really part. Yeah, that right there is not even, it shouldn't even be in here. Okay, we're going to take that. I don't know if I can take it out. Okay, that's not a big deal. See, you see why people don't understand math. A natural number greater than 1 that has only itself and one factor is called, that's a prime number, but look at the way they explain it. You have to have your nose and your pinky in the air to understand what the definition says. It's a prime number, but a number that's only divisible by itself and 1. Oh, why do they have to make things so complicated? If A is divisible by B, then A divided by B has a remainder of, there's no remainder. See, some of these questions are just so silly or easy that they can be difficult. But I'm going to tell you right now, that is the least common multiple, I believe. It's the opposite. Let's see, the largest natural number that divides into, that's the greatest common divisor. Okay, that's in your book. These are in your book. But this one right here with okay, we're in 3 minutes now. Stop. That right there, I'm going to have to actually look that up because I remember the name, but I don't remember how to do it. And that's because I did it back in college. So that one right there, just skip that one. I don't even know why it's in there. Determine whether the following statement modify 2 is a multiple. Okay, that's pretty simple. I'm not going to worry about that. Let's get back to number 11. That bothered me. I saw that question. I don't know where that question came from. I'm going to have to go back and do that. Okay, here we go. 315. So I take my handy dandy webcam and I do 315. I'm looking to see what time it is because I don't want any of y'all to fall on the floor and start doing convulsions. 12:10. Okay, so 315. And I draw my long table and I put 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13. Now, what number do I automatically know without a shadow of a doubt 5 seconds after I look at this number will go into this number? 5, Hubert, because it ends in 5. Thank you, class. I appreciate y'all's interaction. So 5 will go into 315. 5 will go into 31 6 times. That leaves 1, 15. 5 will go into 15 3 times. Okay, now 3 will go into 63 because 6 plus 3 is 9, and 3 will go into 9 because your divisibility rules. Up, I have a question. Hold on. Oh, okay, you're answering. Thank you, Mr. Hubbard. All right, and 3. Now you could use another number, 7. You could use 7 if you want to. It'll all come out in the wash. It will at the end. It'll come out to be the same. 3 will go into 6 2 times. Okay, and that'll leave what? 3, and 3 will go into there. Here comes that 7 that you used in the 63. Here it is right here. So it comes out 3 times and 3. Now some of y'all didn't do it like I did, but look at the answer. 315 is equal to 3 squared times 5 times 7, and that's the same thing that you got. And you went about it a different way. As long as you use these numbers, you'll be okay. And that's how you find the prime factors. Okay? Now I'm going to get into the least common multiple and the greatest common factor just so some of you can work on your homework, and some of you may already know how to do the least common multiple and the greatest common factor. So I'm going to go to the book right quick, and I'm going to pull it up, and I'll tell you why. Because as far as how to find the number, I know, but I always forget the actual name. I forget always ever since college, I forget. I can't remember which one's which. So I'm going to go to the text, and we're going to find the least common multiple and the greatest common factor. Let me go back. Make sure they don't put it in the beginning of the, I want to make sure they don't put it at the beginning. Nope, I don't see it there. I don't see it there. Yeah, there's what's his name? Theories, I think is Theories. And that's the screen that they're talking about right there where you find the prime numbers. Or you can just look through the numbers and say which ones are ugly. And you can see which ones are ugly if you know your multiplication tables. If you don't know your multiplication tables, then you need to learn them. That's all I'm going to say. Let me check the time before some of y'all faint. Yeah, that's what I don't do, because you can't do that with the greatest common divisor and all that. Prime factorization. There we go. The greatest common divisor is, write this down, of a set of natural is the largest natural number that divides into that number. Let me give you an example. Write that down. So the greatest common divisor is the largest number that will divide into a set of numbers. And the least common multiple, that's going to be the next page. I've got them written down on the page here. Just hold on. It'll be the least common multiple if it comes up. And there it is. The least common multiple of set is the smallest natural number that is divisible by each element. That's the smallest number divisible by the numbers, the numbers given. Divisible by numbers given. And I don't have much time. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. If I give you two numbers like 4 and 7, those are the two numbers. Well, no, I better not do 4 and 7 because they're prime. 7's prime. 4 and 8. Okay? The largest number that will divide into 4 and 8 is 4. So 4 equals the greatest common divisor. 4 will go into 4 one time. 4 will go into 8 two times. So 4 is the biggest number that will divide into 4 and 8. What is the smallest number that 4 and 8 will go into? What is, be careful here because a lot of people just multiply them and that's not right. What is the smallest number that 4 and 8 will divide into? And that is 8. 4 will go into 8 two times. 8 will go into 8 one time. Now, that is the least common multiple. Now, right quick, I'm going to show you how we do that. Just one problem. I got 2 minutes. So I'm going to show you how we do 4, or I'm going to give you just 4 and 8. Two, 3, 5, 7, 11, and sometimes 13. And I'm going to use 2 different colors. I'm going to use blue and green. Blue and green. I'm going to use a light green because the dark green looks like blue or black. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and find my prime factorization. So I'm going to divide by 2 right there. That'll give me a 2 and a 4. And then 2 will go in there 1 time and go in there 2 times. And I'm done. Why? Because there's no other number that will go into 1 and 2. But I don't have 1s all the way across. But right now, my greatest common divisor is equal to 4, which is 2 times 2. Now, I'm going to keep going in green, and I'm going to get 1s on the bottom. I'm going to be using magic math. I'm going to divide by 2, and this comes down because I can't divide 2 into 1, and 2 into 2 1 time. When I get all 1s on the bottom, now I've got my least common multiple equals 4 times 2, which is equal to 8. So that's how we're going to, now when we come back Monday, we will work on these problems. So homework-wise, you only need to go up to, let's look at the homework right quick because I want to show you how far to go to. Let's see, we were on number 11. Okay, where is, okay, let me hit it again. Number 11. Okay, I don't know why it didn't come up. Let's look at number 12, 13. Okay, so you need to go homework from 1 to 12 and just skip that esophagus or whatever it's called. So your homework, I'm going to write this down so nobody will get it messed up. Somebody will email me. Do we need to do number 13? Homework till Monday is 5.1, number online number 1 through 12. And if you're going to do that esophagus or whatever that word is, just pick the prime numbers. Just pick them out. If you don't want to pick them out, then just skip it for right now. And I'll show you that next time, okay? Now, I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm going to stop the presentation so I can look at the, the roll and see for this week